The Scorpion, Chapter 2. There is a star on YouTube named Nick Johnson who travels the back roads of the United States. He shows us the dilapidated areas of Pineville, Arkansas, Bill Clinton's backyard, Benton Harbor in Michigan, and San Bernardino, California, where Nick Johnson himself grew up. We see in his videos that the entire state of California, not just Los Angeles, is awash in homeless. You can also watch Chris Hedges on YouTube talk about the destruction of the inner city, or you can walk through Camden, Trenton, Newark, North Philadelphia, Skid Row in LA, Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia to see this for yourself. All of this can be laid at the feet of Alexander Hamilton, as well as his chief apologists, fans, and ruthless promoters, Ron Chernow and Lin-Manuel Miranda. The New York City society crowd, who have always been royalists and who never fully bought into the American experiment, cheer on this disparity of wealth. Of course they do. Alexander Hamilton is their boy, their homie. Hamilton's detractors at the time claimed that he was an agent of the British Crown. Maybe he wasn't precisely an agent of the British Crown, but he certainly created an America that brought in the worst elements of Great Britain. We Americans, through our global slaughters in Vietnam, Indonesia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and now Gaza, are beginning to make the British look like saints. The British killed millions. We are someday going to surpass them. The people of the world see what we are doing. They're not stupid. If they go along with America, it is begrudgingly with a false smile to mask their inner contemplation of a world without the American tyrant. Is this the policy and legacy that we desire? I think not. This is not to say that Alexander Hamilton did not do good things. There certainly is a need for a central bank, but we must define more clearly what a central bank can do and how far it can go and who it really works for. The same can be stated for the America-dominated IMF and World Bank, which, as we can see now, are mere tools to cement American domination. Free trade is another issue to resolve. Hamilton was enamored with free trade, but free trade needs controls, as he himself pointed out. Herewith, courtesy of Google AI, seems appropriate, are Hamilton's thoughts in a nutshell. Hamilton's stance on free trade was nuanced and evolved over time, reflecting the particular challenges faced by the nascent United States. Hamilton acknowledged the general benefits of free trade. However, he believed that the government needed the power to regulate trade in order to protect national interests. In his influential 1791 Report on Manufactures, Hamilton advocated using government power to foster the growth of American manufacturing. He proposed shielding newly emerging industries in the United States from foreign competition until they could achieve economies of scale, become globally competitive. While he advocated tariffs, he also emphasized that they should be moderate and temporary to avoid stifling trade and incentivizing inefficiency. Hamilton considered production subsidies, referred to as bounties, as a more effective method of nurturing manufacturing than high tariffs alone, as they directly supported domestic production without necessarily hindering trade. That sounds fairly reasonable to me, so why don't Hamilton's promoters believe it? If there are no controls, what you get are greedy corporations that make an economic engine of war and exploitation. And if there are no good wars to fight, rest assured that the corporate CEOs and the ruling class who control the corporations will find or create one. Regarding foreign policy, it matters not who the president of the United States is or who resides in his cabinet. The policies are formulated by the ruling class who control the think tanks, which provide the officers of the political establishment. This is why we get the same consistent policy no matter who the president of the United States is. It matters little whether it is Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, or Bush. There exists 40 years of nothingness and less. The message is the same: war, war, and more war. More debt and more debt. Of course, the debt is no problem as long as America is the biggest mofo on the block. But what happens on the day when America isn't? Are we really interested in an America that is bankrupt, weak, and subservient to another nation? I think not. Can that day come? Not if you read Foreign Affairs. But yes, it can come, and it will come sooner than we might want. Now, the general pediatrician is not a specialist. He stands back and looks at the patient from a distance. As I read Foreign Affairs, this is what I glean from a distance. America's strength is embedded within a cooperative economic relationship that has existed for the past 80 years. Yet at the same time, America, the grand cooperator, has enemies everywhere. Donald Trump, rightly or wrongly, is viewed as an enemy of this world order that was established after World War II. He is seen as more of a threat than China itself. His tariffs and policies will undo American dominance. Well, to be truthful, America has engaged in a cooperative relationship only with a minority of select nations in a win-win situation. The rest of the peoples of the world have not enjoyed a win-win relationship. America routinely exploits developing nations for their raw materials and cheap labor. In your own publication, Yen Fung Chang and Joseph Chening Lo tell us that Southeast Asia is leaning toward China. Big surprise. Why would Southeast Asia look toward a nation, us, that only offers exploitation? What does that say for the supremacy of the dollar? Not much, especially with the emergence of BRICS and alternative currencies. Oh, but then we are told by Eswar Prasad in another article entitled Top Dollar: Why the Dominance of America's Currency is Harder Than Ever to Overturn, that we don't have to worry that the dollar is supreme, that it will be almost impossible for the dollar to be knocked off its high perch. Is that a fact? That sounds like Mr. Ismay speaking from the bridge of the Titanic. Why this ship can't sink? Here are some other fun statements. I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers. Delivered by Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, 1943. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Delivered by Western Union Internal Memo, 1876. And finally, we don't like their sound and guitar and music is on the way out. Delivered by Decca Recording Company, rejecting the Beatles in 1962.